Okay, so welcome to a 1-hour masterclass, and what we're covering today is how to monetize your brand. And honestly, I'm super excited about this topic, and I'll share with you in a second what it is. But before we get into the content, I want to ask you an honest question. You don't have to answer it publicly, obviously, but think about it. If you could only do one thing for the rest of your life and you would be happy with it, what would it be? And most importantly, is it already what you're doing now? If there is a gap, then you've come to the right place. Because basically today what we're going to cover is how you can make money with being in your high performance zone and owning your point of difference. But also because we need to be able to diversify our income and also reduce our risks in terms of income. And lastly, we also don't want to leave our success to chance, but we want to take control and have our own choices with it. So what are we going to actually cover? Why a personal brand is so much more important to build in the future of work than just a career. Also, the 5 things you need to consider if you want to monetize your brand. And lastly, what can you actually do to monetize your brand? And we'll give you a few tangible steps that you can implement straight away so you can make money with owning your point of difference. Okay. I know most of you don't know us yet, so a quick introduction who we are. So my name is Petra Sink, and I'm a personal branding and a digital strategist, and I've specialized in building careers and businesses for the future of work, because this is what I'm super passionate and interested in. And today I'm joined by my co-facilitator, Nicolette Baker.
Hi everyone, super excited to be here. So I help personal brands establish a content framework that builds your digital footprint and authority online. I have been in corporate marketing for about 10 years and have helped several companies reach LinkedIn's most socially engaged. So I'd love to be able to talk to you today and share that proven framework with you all.
And what you will also see as we go through the content, that we're complementing each other very well. So my specialization is more in the branding side, which means the establishing of your personality, of how you can make money. So the foundation, and I always say it's the unsexy part, and I can own this, I'm happy with this, but this is the foundation, because you can have the nicest and shiniest logos, websites, CVs, whatever it might be. If it doesn't align with your personality and your goals and your strength, it's going to be a flop. So this is what we are going to cover. And also, as I said, with the housekeeping, question and answers towards the end. And it's, you can just put them in the chat box for now, and we can cover them later, but we certainly make some time for that. And the biggest question that we want to answer first is, why should you even care? Why would you need to know how to monetize your personal brand? Especially if you are still an employee or you have no intentions to actually become an entrepreneur yourself. And I just want to share a couple of stats with you that raises the urgency of you actually knowing and learning how to make money with yourself. Firstly, 50% of tasks in the jobs will significantly change over the next decade, which means that you have to reinvent yourself over and over anyway, also if you want to stay an employee. So it's about knowing what kind of transferable skills can I use to make my next role and create my next opportunity myself. And also a big differentiator compared to a few years ago is knowledge is not the most important part for getting a job. It's your personality and your characteristics and your ability to apply knowledge that makes all the difference. Because this is your point of difference that sets you apart from others and no one can compete with. Also, an interesting fact is that roughly half of professionals say there's so much pressure on them that they don't know what else they would do, which is why they stay in their jobs. And as we know, if you just do the doing and you don't enjoy it, how much extra effort do you put in there? Probably next to nothing. And if we are high performers, and all of us who are here are certainly high performers and driven, otherwise you wouldn't share your lunchtime with us. You want to be your very best. And if you feel, I'm trying hard and it just doesn't work, this is where we get frustrated. And also we'll never get remunerated the extra parts. A big decision point is also that technology connects us a lot more. And with that, we also have more access to information, which means decision makers, it could be your employer, it could be a client, it could be a partner. They've got much more opportunities to check people out, to tap into different pools of opportunities. So if we don't have a proper brand, if we don't have a proper presence, and we can actually be found and are visible, we're missing out on opportunities straight away. And now with COVID, the situation has fast-tracked it, that we're not going to go anywhere offline anymore. If we're not online, we are not future-proof. That's it. And the last interesting fact that I want to share is 3.3 million, which is a fair bit of chunk, of Australians want a career change. But how many actually changing careers? Not many, simply because they don't know what else they can do to make money. So in a nutshell, what we see is the future of work is going to be more fast, it's fluid, and is also frenetic. So for those who joined last night's masterclass where we talked about the future of work trends, this was exactly the statement that Gillian Kelly made. And this is true. We are changing jobs more often. Pivoting becomes the new black. This is not a nice to have, but it's a must have if you want to stay relevant. It's going to be faster. We're not staying in a job anymore for 3, 5, or 10 years. It's going to be less than 2 years. And because of more technology, it's also more frenetic in terms of what else we need to know. In a nutshell, what is the future of work? 3 elements. It is more connected, as we said before, with more access to information, and through technology, we can tap into different talent pools and options, which means that we also compete with a much larger audience all of a sudden, not just with the local talents anymore, but with a global talent pool. And lastly, it is also more complex. So which means our skill set need to shift and change to manage the complexity. And because it is more complex and we are competing with such a much larger pool of potential competitors, this is where the branding comes in. We want to set ourselves apart. And what I put in there is the difference between being having a brand is branded and being known, and being brandless. Nobody knows of you. And then we're competing on price and not on value. And this is what we want to avoid, because we want to get paid well for doing what we're best at. I would say so. So what is a brand to start with? It is an intersection of your credibility, which is everything about you. So your strength, your experience, your hard skills, your soft skills, literally you, but also people who actually see you, because you can be the best in your industry. If nobody knows of you, well, guess what? Bad luck. You can't be considered. You can't be tapped on shoulders. And this is what we're covering also today, because often opportunities you don't have to chase them. They'll come to you. And this is how you can monetize it. And honestly, if opportunities come to you, you're in a driver's seat in terms of what you can charge, because there's a much stronger emotional connection that this person wants you to get on board for whatever reason, and they're happy to pay for it, because money is nothing else than value exchange. And if you don't see the value that you can bring to them, the remuneration is going to be low. But if you've built yourself up as the go-to person and you have a solution to a certain problem, and the promise that you make is solving this problem, you're going to be, so far ahead of your competition. And this is exactly what people are paying you for. What we also know is the winners in the future of work. And they're the ones who think outside the box, the ones who are curious and ask more questions rather than just trying to always answer the questions. They are passionate about what they're doing, and with that they put so much more energy and effort into making their craft the best they can possibly make. Also the ones who are agile, who can look around the corner and already prepare for what's next, who don't hold on to the limiting beliefs that I can't because I've not ever done it in my career before, but it's a matter of I cannot yet, but what I can do is to find out how I can make this work. And of course the innovators, who are constantly challenging the status quo and are not happy with what they've got now, because as we know, the only constant is change. So the question is, how can we monetize our personal brand now? And before we get into this, we need to discover 5 things that we need to prepare first. And the first part, because this is a massive chunk of your personal brand, is we need to build expertise and proven credibility. So with that, nobody is born as an expert in their field. And often this is where the imposter syndrome comes in and said, I've exercised a couple of years, but I wouldn't be seen as the expert yet. Guess what? I didn't grow up or, wake up one day and said, I'm going to be the future of work expert. Not at all. What happened was I was just really interested because it was in recruitment. And because I watched the market, what happened. And some talents who were so much in demand, all of a sudden, fast forwarding 18 months from there, nobody wanted their skill set anymore. And they charged 160 grand as a 24-year-old because there was just such a specialized skill set. 18 months later, nobody was interested in that skill set. And I thought, so when things happen so quickly, in such a rapid change, what does the future of work look like? And how can I help my candidates to stay on top of the game? That was my only interest. I never wanted to get into the coaching side of things or helping people to actually build careers and businesses around their expertise. This was never my intention. I just wanted to place people into roles and work with companies to have the best talents. But the more you get into fields, the more you're interested in, the more you get exposure and experience, also through associations from other experts, the more you build your own credibility. So this is the first part, but the question is, how exactly can we do it?
Okay, how? So you need to talk about your superpower, and that sounds really fluffy and marketing and a lot of jargon, and probably some of you don't even like that word superpower, but let me break it down. Your superpower is basically what your point of difference is. It's the one thing that you always fall back on when you need to bring your A game. You know, that thing that lights you up no matter what. You're super excited, you're in your flow zone, whether it's because you're an extrovert and you're like being around people and pitching and putting yourself under the pump, whatever it is, whatever your superpower is, that's how you know that that's your expertise, because you're naturally loving what you're doing and showing your best foot, always putting your best foot forward, right? Now, once you do that and once you understand what your superpower is, then you need to talk about where you are. Sorry, there's a train going past. We need to talk about your authority. Where are you an industry expert? What about your subject thought leadership work? And what about your position? Where are you? Exactly where are you and where are your competitors? And how are you different? Yeah. So once you understand all of that, then you start to build out your expertise on this particular topic. Now, there's a lot of personal branding experts out there, right? And there's something that a personal branding expert can bring that's totally different, right? Everyone has their own superpower. And I know you all within your own unique industries and talents have your own superpower as well, yeah? So you need to make sure that you stand for something, and that will create your expertise.
Excellent. And also, if you think, but it's too easy what I'm doing, nobody else values that, this is exactly what your strength is.
Yes.
Because everyone's got their own personal strength. And this is why it's called It's Your Strength. And this is what other people want to. They don't have that strength, and this is what they value in you. So think about it. What just comes easily to you? What do other people come to you for? Say, hey, can you quickly look at that? Or can you organize my event? Can you look at my numbers? I don't know what to do with them. What is it that you're constantly getting asked for? And this is already a good indication that you are already an expert, even without the official accreditation, without the official role title, or without the official 10 years or 10,000 hours of experience. Can we just make sure everyone's got their background noise on mute? Thank you. Okay, number 2, what else do we need to take in consideration? Identify what problem you are solving, because this is what we said before. Value is just an exchange of, or money is just an exchange of value. If you don't know the problem that you are solving, also if you're an employee, I always want to stress that, then the chances that you get remunerated well with it, it's quite low. And a problem could be anything that, as I said before, it's hard for somebody else, or they simply cannot do it. And we're not so much interested in others, but we're interested in what they can do for me. And when you switch the shift, you will see you can position yourself so much more powerfully. So the question is, how can we really identify what problem are we solving?
Yeah. So you need to start collaborating with people. Start to find like-minded people that you want to collaborate with. Petra and I, pure example. We have completely different personal brands. We do 2 completely different things, but we know that by collaborating, we bring are joint. We provide a lot of value, right, to both of you, because one is the content side and the other is the coaching, a career coaching side. So see who you balance out with. Now, that could be somebody that you might think is a competitor, but they're going to be known for something completely different, right? And they're going to be positioned somewhere completely different. So you should start appearing on blogs, webinars, podcasts, whatever it is, however you want to feel comfortable showing up. So that's a huge piece of this too. A lot of people think that by just jumping in and doing webinars, live events, public speaking, podcasts, videos, any of that type of content, if that scares the pants off you, don't do it. What are you comfortable with today? And just take that next step so you can win. We all want to be winners. We all need to feel like we are actually progressing and getting ahead, right? No one wants to feel like they totally flopped. So just make sure you're just taking that next little step every time and time again, and share everything for free, especially when you're starting out. You can't gate content. You can't cash in or monetize before you're well and truly ready to do it. People have to know what you stand for over and over and over again. Petra, how many times have we run free masterclasses on personal branding? Like it's almost countless, right? And we always have a different angle and we always come with a different approach. But we know that there's different people in here every time. We bring up different things, different stages, and it's vitally important that you make sure that you're constantly showing, demonstrating your, passions and strengths, right? So then when you start applying, or you're ready to become a speaker or a paid contributor, you know that there's so many opportunities out there and you need to proactively hunt for them. Yeah. So you need to be looking at a lot of events. Obviously now, now is quite a good time. And let me tell you why, because there's virtual events everywhere and anywhere. And there's going to be an opportunity out there for you. So start hunting, whether that's through Google searches. Think about, okay, I'm great at personal branding, or I'm really great at marketing implementation, or whatever it is that you want to be known for. And start Googling events, topics, collaborate, reach out with like-minded people and see where it can go, because it's not too far away. And honestly, it might just be 1 or 2 conversations away before you could get your next gig.
And I'll probably also share how I discovered the problem that I was solving, because I wasn't aware of this. And to be honest, it's not super visible or easy to discover either. But I was in recruitment, and I thought the only reason why people come to me is to get a job. But what I found out is, because I got to know people really well, I interviewed them in depth, I could tell their story. And because I presented them to employers in a personal story, say, you need to meet Jane, because honestly, she's the most diligent person ever. And because of her upbringing. So I told the story. I usually didn't even submit a CV until the very last stage, just for compliance reasons. But they said, send her in or send them in. And what I thought is, why can I do that so easily for others, but they cannot see what their point of difference is? So initially it was all about how can I make the placement, but I didn't realize the problem that I'm solving is that I open up people's perspective about themselves and helping them to tell their story. And I thought, well, I can only tell so many stories, or place so many people depending on the roles that I've got. How can I make this a little bit of a bigger and more systematic way to teach people themselves how they can get into jobs or pitch themselves to clients? It doesn't matter if you're an employee or an entrepreneur or want to run your own business. You always need to pitch yourself and tell your story. This is now the new skill set of the future of work if we want to make money with it. So think about it. What is, with your task and with your strengths that you're doing already, what can you help others to achieve? And this is what we call the problem that they've got. It may be they are hopeless with getting organized. They're super creative, but they have no idea how to put a spreadsheet together. Or it could be they're very technical, but they hate talking to people. So if somebody could translate what they mean and what they can do for somebody else who just wants to see the end result and the translator, this could be one. Another problem that you could solve is I have no idea how to network. You could be naturally a connector, saying, I always connect people and think, oh, you should talk to this person. How can I make money with that? You know, what kind of opportunities are out there? What kind of industries would promote that? Think about an influencer. This is also a connector model. Recruitment, it's a connector model. Broker is a connector model. You're connecting the market or demand with supply, basically. So I just want you to start thinking based on your strength, based on, you see what kind of problem you're solving, and then from there we create opportunities that connect them both. But wait, we've got more. The third part, if you want to make money with your own personal brand, is you need to share your value and you need to showcase it and don't talk about it. Meaning, we can all say, oh, we are the best project manager in this world. Awesome. We're the best leadership coach in this world. I believe you. Not. We don't believe anyone who is just saying what they're doing, but we want to see it. The question is, how can we see that?
Yeah, so this is really important, right? And I think I want to talk a little bit now specifically to around the whole, when you just said about what you're an expert, okay, you're a great leader, but so is everyone else that's a leader. Okay, you're a great marketer, okay, but so is everybody else. That's still not highlighting the point of difference or your, like I said, superpower or your sweet spot, right? What you're doing really well. So make sure at every opportunity you're highlighting and showcasing that superpower. Now, everyone has a different one. It's, you know, if you think about it, exactly like Petra said before, right? It's all about highlighting what really is easy and lights you up. You can go in every time and show that up, right? Every single time that superpower is showing up time and time again. And you need to make sure that you're doing it consistently, okay, whether it's through blog posts, whether it's through LinkedIn posts, videos, how you're showing up in the workplace. So that in-person reputation needs to transfer across to your digital reputation as well. It's going to feel boring. It's going to feel like I've been doing this for too long. Now it's time to shake things up, but it's not. It's providing value and it's giving you credibility. Okay. Experts are known for one or two things. That's it. You think about how did, I'm trying to think about somebody that's famous, Tony Robbins. Everyone knows that he's the motivational speaker. He's amazing, right? But what's he really good at? He heals people's traumas and hang-ups to build a better you, to build a better person. Yes, he does business coaching. Yes, he does all those things. But first and foremost, he's a motivational speaker that rebuilds the person, that fixes the person, right? So experts, again, are known for one or two things. Let's talk about Petra for a minute. Petra's superpower is, well done, is reinvent. Yeah, that's her word. She is the queen of career pivots. And I'm going to just jump in and share part of your story, Petra. But her brother, I don't know if he still does it now, is always like, okay, what are you doing today? What's happening? What career jump have you made? What are you doing? There's always something new. There's always some different, you know, alignment and stuff like that. And that's, see how she's turned her superpower into what she's an expert in. Now she's the expert in future of work, because that's what the future of work looks like, where you're just completely aligned with what you want to do and your superpowers, right? And mine is engage, right? I breathe life into brands and online communities.
Excellent. There was really good examples. And so often, sometimes you already do it without having the role as such, and you want to share your story. So when you say, I want to be known for the best leader in the finance space, for example, guess what? I'm going to share my team all the time. I'm celebrating their wins. I'm sharing the hardest stories that I've overcome because I got a rejection in a sales environment and how I did it. So I constantly talk about sales, but from a different perspective, because that keeps people interested to start with, but it also tackles all the points in terms of there are other people who can actually vouch for me. This is my credibility because I can share with you how I overcome situations and the tips that you can do straight away. But also vulnerability and personality with the personal story. This is what people remember. And it wasn't until, funny enough that Nicolette mentioned the story from my brother, because this was not rehearsed, but he always made me feel really bad about it. He's like, oh, so what are you doing this week? And, he even said to me, also, you're an unemployed influencer now? And I was like, that's exactly it. Because he doesn't understand. He's a very traditional 9-to-5 person. He's been with the company for 12 years now, was just made redundant, struggling to get a new job, even though he was, one of the most senior people in the construction industry in Europe. And nobody knows of him because he did not build his network. He's never upskilled him in a different area. He's not put himself on social media. He's not even on social media. Nobody sees and knows of him. And I'm like, so who are we laughing at now? And I mean, I'm not laughing at him, but how quickly things change. And because I am always in the future, I've just made my strength. Whereas others would say I'm quite, frugal or just, jumping between. But this is how can you create your personality and what your characteristics into something that's actually monetizable. Because I've done it for myself already like 4 times, and I'm currently on another pivot already, because I see already what's next. And this is what excites me even. So when it has worked for me, and I've worked with over 300 people now also, I can see it works for others. So this is what I want to do for now. And this is what you want to think about. What are you doing already? And share that. If you're really interested in food, but you're now in technology, show food pictures, show how you do it, show how other people enjoy it. Because this is what people associate. It's just what they constantly see. And the repetition is how we learn it. So I'm very curious. I hope you are going to share with us a couple of examples after the webinar as to what could you think already that you can make money with, even though you may not have official credentials in it or official experience. Home stretch, number 4, build and foster a community, and most importantly, a diverse network. I cannot stress it enough to not say a network, but a diverse network. Because about 70-75% of all jobs and opportunities and projects never get advertised and put out there, because it's a lot of money. It's a massive, investment into getting ads out there and a process. So they're usually getting handed over through, hey, do you know of anyone who could do X, Y, Z? This is how the world works, and it's not going to go away. What technology does, it just connects us, and the same happens online. We're going into Facebook groups and say, hey, do you know of anyone? We're going into the meetup groups and say, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so. So now the word out of mouth has become word out of mouth. And if people know you and they can tag you, this is how you can get in front of others. But ideally, you want to tap into different pools. So depending, and use your interests and your personality and your hobbies as your strength. Let's say I'm currently in technology, but I'm really interested in fitness, nutrition, and meditation. Has nothing to do with your current role, but you want to build networks in each of those categories, because if you are on a job hunt, or you want to get an introduction, or you want to pitch for something, it's much easier to tap into all of those people to start a conversation. So the question is, how else can we get a diverse network happening?
So you build one and you build it by laying all the foundational work around you, right? So just like Petra said, so when I say that I've been in corporate marketing for 10 years, I think 7 of those 10 years has been in mining. It's a bit limiting, isn't it? What happens if mining goes down? Or what happens? I'm just going to keep getting pigeonholed in the next couple of years. If I stay in mining for the next, say, 3 to 5 years, if I reach or crack that 10-year mark in mining, I'm going to be there for the rest of my life. And it's not like I don't love the industry, because I do. It's amazing. But I do understand how this works, right? And you need to make sure that you have experience across a whole plethora of industries, and a whole different amount of roles as well. And it could just be some charity work that you do, or some pro bono work that you do to complement it, or seasonal work, or reach back out to the uni that you went to if you have a university degree or a TAFE diploma or anything like that. Reach back out and see how you can give back, because then that's also tapping into a wider network and a different group of people, right? Obviously, you need to make sure that you're demonstrating that though, and you need to grow it and foster it. So exactly like connecting and reaching out with all different people. So everyone that's on this call today, you should be reaching out with Petra and I to tap into our networks as well. And talk to us about what you're strong at. Talk to us about what you're passionate about. Talk to us about what the reasons for why you were coming into this workshop, right? Maybe we might be able to connect you with someone else. It could just be that one question. See, ask, co-collaborate. That one question. Who impresses you on LinkedIn right now? There's got to be someone. Everyone looks up to someone that they idolize, or idolize might not be the same right word, but you know, someone that you think is doing a really good job, that's acing it. Reach out to them, ask them, how do you have all these speaking engagements? Don't be worried or concerned, because I did recently. I had somebody that I don't know if anyone here, okay, little side story. I don't know if anyone here knows Martin Moore. He's a senior leader in Brisbane. He's just, for the last few years, he's been building his leadership training all around. It's called Your CEO Mentor. And his daughter, Emma Green, was basically convinced him to leave his high prestigious CEO role for 30 years, right? He's been a CEO, to leave it and to start his own personal branding venture, right? And then started a course. They've completely aced it. But I reached out to Emma to co-collaborate on a webinar. And she is just nailing it absolutely everywhere. And I thought, there's no way. She's not even going to respond to my email or even see anything, because she is so successful and she'll be busy and all those things. And she just said, oh my goodness, I can't wait. So see how in my mind, I think, oh no, they won't have the time. They won't have this. And that's all normal to feel like that, right? But please ask, because you'll never know if you don't ask. It's a no until you ask, and then you'll really know.
Great tips. And also, especially with the volunteering and the pro bono work and the not-for-profit engagement, you can build a really good network, and at the same time you also build your skill set. And this is another big benefit of you just being proactive, getting involved in projects, because you never know who you can learn from, and also use that to actually build your expertise in your actual fields that you want to do. So having a cross-cultural, cross-functional skill set and network is certainly what helps you a lot. And with that said, it's also easier to get considered for different opportunities. So for example, I never thought to be on a board, honestly, ever. It's not ever been one of my goals. And then in the same year, 2 chairs reached out to me and asked me to be on a board. Like, this is what all of a sudden can happen, because they simply saw me. It was just a visibility. And what they said, and I don't even have a board director certification, just disclosing here, and I never intend to get one either. Just saying that also. But what they said is, both of them said, you've got personality, you've got an audience, and you've got content that resonates with us. See, this is all traits. This is not knowing anything. It's not knowledge. And I still, as I said, don't have the certification in a board director's role. So people want you for the personality that you can bring, and with that, opportunities come up. And also, you know, I was asked, I want to get into speaking. So I literally hosted my own workshop. And I think 7 or 8 people came, and I'm pretty sure 6 of them are forced to come. That's a different story. But because I shared it, and this is coming down to, I don't talk about, hey, I'm a speaker. I actually share it and have the photo with the group there. Then another company reached out and said, hey, can you talk to our team about this? And then I thought, oh, companies. I haven't even thought about talking to companies. I always just thought to talk to individuals, because it was my focus to start with. And I was like, oh, there's some other place there. That then I got into conferences. So you don't need to start with, you know, the shooting point right up there. You want to build stepping stones. And with that, you also get some exposure. You get some hands-on experience and see, I actually quite like this. Or also the other way. Now, it was much more romantic and nicer in my head when I thought about it than actually the doing and the experience. So it also saves you a lot of heartache if you are thinking about a career change or wanting to get into a certain industry, to have some experience before you actually make the jump and may risk, you know, doing the quote unquote wrong move. And finally, this is, you know, big for all of us, and it should be, build your online presence. Because as we said before, technology connects us, and with technology, word out of mouth, becomes word out of mouth, and people are looking you up. And it takes us, from a marketing perspective, if we want to buy a product or a service, a few touch points, what we call in marketing, meaning we want to get to know you before we say you are the right solution for us. Compare you to others. What do others say about us? Have we got credentials? Have we got, what's our thoughts, beliefs? Do we resonate with this? Because we can offer exactly the same that somebody else does, but because they don't resonate with the personality and how we communicate it, they still take the other person, even though we may offer it for exactly the same price or package. But this is coming down to the branding, who you are as a person that no one can compete with. And you want to be loved by someone, and you also want to be hated by others. And this is a good thing. So the second you build your presence, you actually want to get some negative feedback, because you cannot be liked by everyone. This is never ever the goal. But how do we get started with building our personal brand online?
Okay, so focus on one platform, because unless you're a marketing genius and you're prepared to go across multiple platforms, just start on one, whatever that one is for you. So a lot of small businesses find that Instagram is the way to go, or Facebook. Doesn't matter. Some people are YouTube. For both Petra and I, because it's around personal branding and it's in a professional setting, LinkedIn is the one that we probably majoritively focus on, right? So there's a lot of that. Just focus on one and do that really well, and then zoom in, and then you can add multiple later on. Just that stepping stone, right? Just really nail one right. I can't stress enough how much you need to regularly post. And I'm not talking about every hour, on the hour, that would be too much, but at least once a day, 5 times a week. Ask questions, ask polls, actively listen, as in ask your people what they want to post about, what you should be posting about. Ask them. Say you are known for, I'm going to use personal branding because clearly that's what we're both known for here, but say you're known for personal branding. What if you put out a series of questions about where are you in your personal branding venture? Are you, and then do a quick little poll. Are you here, 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 or here? And see what type of engagement you get. And then say everyone's in there monetizing, they're ready to take that next step, right? They're ready to cash in on their personal brand. Then you know that your content is going to be spot on if you consistently speak to the pains and the gains of that audience group. Yeah. Guest appearances, exactly what we said before, right? Universities, not-for-profit, charity events, any industry events. Who do you want to get in front of? Who's your one customer? Even if you're an employee. If your employee is that next level up, right? Because you want to get a new job, or you want a career, a promotion within your career, then how can you get in front of people on that level, right? At different industry events, and just pick their brains about things. Hey, I'm wanting to level up and get that next promotion. Here's what I'm thinking. Or I want to start my own podcast. What do you think about this? Or there's so many different ways that you can start to engage with people and find out who is your number one customer, right? Who do you want to get in front of? Who's important to you? And how can you help solve their issues?
And maybe the last point with the social media side, you want to really hone in on one platform and nail it before you go anywhere further. And if your decision maker is not on one platform, there's no point in doing it. Honestly, I'm going to stop my Facebook in the next week because I personally hate Facebook so much. I just don't want to be on it. So, because I work usually with clients or, most of the professional industries and companies, they are not on Facebook anymore. They are smaller businesses or individuals, but this is not my audience anymore. So it's also about thinking, do I spend time on the right platforms? And if not, what can I get rid of? So even, with Twitter, that was a couple of years or 3 years ago, probably my focus. And I spent 8 hours to just schedule 1 week ahead because it's such a fast moving platform. But honestly, it didn't do anything for me. I got a couple of US speaking engagements, but it's not worth the time what I got in return. So starting to be consistent on one platform to start with, where you actually want to establish yourself. And as Nicolette said, we're both fans of LinkedIn because it's such a friendly algorithm to start with. It's where decision makers are already. And it's where you get traction without paying. You have little, like tiny little, if any, competition, because less than 1% of all users post on LinkedIn. So you can get seen.
Sorry, Petra, I totally cut you off then. Can I just add to that, just to get all marketing on you all, because I'm sure you're loving it right now. But just to talk a little bit about that whole LinkedIn algorithm and Facebook algorithm. Does anyone know, and you can raise your hand in the comment section, does anyone realize that how good was Facebook 6 years ago? And how bad it is now? I don't know about you guys, but all I'm seeing is my group activity, you know, groups that I'm in, what other businesses with their sponsored content. I never see anything from my friends, the people that are actually joined there in the first place, to see. I don't see, I don't know, their stuff isn't prioritized, and that's their algorithm. I don't know what happened. They over engineered it, but it's not working. But LinkedIn's is, and so is Instagram. So we both would probably strongly suggest for you to try either one of those platforms if that suits you. Okay.
So this is where we hand over to you guys. Fire away any questions you may have. And it could be anything from anything, social media, your strength, opportunities, introductions, networking, anything. Fire away.
You can either put it in the comment box or you can unmute yourself and ask. Come on down.
Any questions on anything? Just wait for a couple of minutes to put it in the chat box if you've got it. Did you want to think about it? Also, you know, think of LinkedIn as your own website, basically, that you can market yourself. So you want to optimize your profile with a nice banner that talks about what you can do, what you're passionate about, what's your personality, anything that sells you without you having to do the sales. That people see straight away, ooh, this looks interesting, so I want to start a conversation. So don't think of social media, this is the closer, the deal closer. It's a conversation opener and a starting point of a relationship. And once you build a relationship, this is where opportunities come in. So they don't come in straight away. So also getting a bit marketing geeky on you, it's a sales funnel. And it's the same with a decision-making funnel, if I want to hire you or not. I need to become aware of somebody to then consider this person, to really want them because I got to know them and they totally resonate with me and they tick all the boxes that I want in them, to then convert. So that's why we need to have a few different touch points, and this is why people are looking you up on different channels. So have you got any questions on anything now?
We must have just nailed it, that they don't even realize they don't have any questions because they just understand what we're saying.
Maybe a question to you guys. What are you thinking of monetizing? What kind of skill set, what kind of network, what kind of point of difference could you monetize that you may not monetize right now, but down the track you could?
Or what about who believes that they can go out and ace monetizing their personal brand?
We had a couple of weeks ago a panel discussion, and one of the speakers, she's really big on Instagram now, and she says just from Instagram makes 6 figures a year. And this is only by people wanting to be associated with her and her brand. Well, I don't think we've got any questions. So where from here?
That's not bad. Okay. All right. So I just asked you previously who believes that they can go out and start monetizing their brand now, as in today. Could you go out and start getting speaking engagements, getting new clients, or what about that next promotion? Whether it's this week or today, next week, who can do it in the short-term future? Honestly, who believes with all the information that they've learned here that they could? So some of you 100%, but some of you not. And do you want to know why? That's because if I showed you a piece, this is a funny analogy. Here's a metaphor, everyone. If I showed you a Black Forest cake, just a picture, and I didn't give you the recipes or the ingredients and asked you to build the cake just from the picture, could you do it? Just from being told what it looks like? I don't think you could. And that's why Petra and I have crafted this offer, right? We have the proven process and or the recipe, if you'd like to say, that will get you these results. So we walk you through the process involved that will help you identify your personal brand and in making sure it's future-proofed. Petra is at the forefront of future of work, as you know. It is pivotal now to make sure that your career trajectory is sustainable. Now, let me tell you something about Petra though. You can't pull the wool over her eyes. She's not going to let you play it safe. She will challenge you with your perceptions of who you are, what you stand for, and make sure that you really are aligned with who you truly are. Yeah. So you're going to have a one-on-one session with Petra, and then you'll jump over and have a one-on-one session with myself, and we're going to highlight your point of difference, what sets you apart in the marketplace, and put a content framework all around that that's going to help build up your digital footprint. Yeah. And we'll give you the authority online. We'll start highlighting quick wins about where you can get to your next strategic goal, right? So if your goal is to be a speaker, then we'll start making sure that we cement you in your content framework. We'll start putting you and positioning you into that expertise framework. So we've got obviously the 2 workshops there, both one-on-one sessions, and then we move into the offer. So usually this is priced at $680, but for the next 48 hours, we're going to open it just for you guys at $480. It's only for fast action takers because we've only got 3 more intakes in July and half of August is already booked up. I don't know if that's accurate as of today, Petra, you might want to let me know, but that 100% is why you need to get onto it sooner than later, right? That 48-hour window. Petra, do you know if any others joined this morning?
Yes, we've got 2 more spots.
Okay. 2 more for July and half full, I believe, for August. But if you're still a little bit uncertain, and I totally understand why you potentially would be, because it's a big investment, right? Investing in yourself instead of allowing your company to invest in you and level up can be hard, right? It's scary. It's scary undertaking something like this, but we wanted to show you some of the testimonials. And then what I'm going to do is transfer over to Petra, because Petra has some hard, tangible results for both Steve Sharp here on the right, his testimonial, and Gunjan Allen. Okay. So here's Steve Sharp, a CEO, has said, I highly recommend this workshop to anyone wanting to learn about how to enhance their personal brand. Just do it. What about Deanna Scott down the bottom? I received so much value from this workshop. Thank you, Petra and Nicolette, and what was 2 very revealing sessions. I have a great framework to work with and now which truly resonates with me. What about Nicola Lambie? Thanks for a fantastic workshop. It was so value and great seeing the online action in learning in action. Sorry, my bad. And then what about Gunjan? She said, worth every dollar, best investment in myself. Thank you for putting this together. Petra, do you want to talk about some of Steve's and Gunjan's results so far?
Yes, when you start working on yourself and you identify how many strengths you already have that you can actually monetize because there's a market for it, and just see it from a different perspective, you will see how much of a rock you've lived under. Because all of a sudden you see how many more opportunities you can create straight away. And I'm all about portfolio career. I've never had just 1 or 2 income streams, I think, ever in my life, to be honest. And I have currently 12 different ones, and I'm building another one up because I don't want to rely on just one opportunity. And once you know how you can identify those pockets where you can actually make money with without necessarily having to work 24 hours a day, this will future-proof yourself. Because if an industry dries up or the profession that you're in is not relevant anymore, you can always pivot or use what you've got already and make the next pillar bigger and better. So it's also about being smart with what kind of systems can you set up yourself whilst being an employee, for example, or running your own business, but not putting all your eggs in a basket. And maybe you know it or not, but I've also been a casual teacher. So I'm actually casually employed by TAFE and universities, but I only teach at night, like from 6 to 9 every now and then, and like on a Friday afternoon. But with that, I got already so many introductions to companies to also run workshops there. But this is what I usually don't necessarily promote as such. But this also, the teaching part helps me with my own business, with online courses and the coaching part. So you see already, you can use your same skill, but in different elements, that you can have diverse income streams. And, you know, I'm working 3, 6 or 10 hours there. And this is where you just have a lot more options with it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, guys, this is it. This is the last time you can ask a question because we're going to wrap up now. Does anyone have anything? Who wants to put their skin in the game and ask a question that's really going to help them? Honestly, it's very unusual for us not to have questions. So I'm wondering, have we given you too much information, or is it that you're a bit nervous to put yourself out there?
What we will do from here, you will get the recording anyway, and definitely connect with us. So maybe you don't have a question right now, but it might spark later. And you will also get the link where you can actually join us for the coaching sessions. And we will organize the times individually. So whatever it suits you, it could be early morning, during the day, at night, weekends, whatever it might be. And we take it from there. But yeah, in the next few hours, we'll get the recording and the slides. And we've got a question. How do I decide what content to publish on LinkedIn first? I have a few article ideas, but no idea how they will be received. Oh, this, good. Yes. Hand it over to you, Nicolette.
Yeah,
where are we starting?
My cup of tea. Okay. Question. Great question, Caitlin. I probably want to ask one more if you can answer it in here, just so I can narrow in. When you say that you've got a few great content ideas or articles and you're not sure which one to go with first, my immediate gut would just say go with the one that's the easiest to write and just to get it out there. Because sometimes our minds play tricks on us, or the fear starts setting in and you just don't know which one to dedicate time to, right? So write the first one that aligns with who you are and what you want. Otherwise, I'd say write the one that's going to provide the most value to your customers or to your audience, right? So if you don't know what would provide the most value to your audience, think about a problem they have. What's the problem that they have and how do you solve it through writing an article? Because you don't want to just share for the share or articles to just show your expertise or your thoughts, right? You've got to share your experience. You need to give some advice. You need to make sure that you craft it all up to make sure that it's actually going to provide value. That's the other thing. If you're writing content that provides no value, it's just documenting for documenting's sake, you're not going to get engagement. There's no way.
The only other idea that I would have on that, try it in a shorter form post first and say, you know, this is topic A, B, and C, and I'm not quite sure which one. I just put a snippet out of it from a quote, a fact, a figure, even a question. You know, what's been the worst career advice you've been given? For example, when I want to talk about career and the wrong, you know, leaders, or another question could be, if I want to talk about the skill sets, which skill set do you think is in demand in the future of work? So I see already completely two different approaches, what resonates more.
Yeah, there's a couple more questions coming through now. What I'd probably also suggest, Caitlin, about that one, not only just the value and everything, you need to make sure that that when you're actually doing it, that you're doing it in a way that you feel comfortable as well, right? Like, so whether it's a video or the short form, like Petra said, just make sure that you're comfortable so you feel like you're acing it as well. You want to make sure and message your friends, ask them to like it so you know you get that notification fix of those first few likes. You don't want to put something out there and people not necessarily respond. Those first few posts are yeah, it's pretty important to have a bit of a cheerleading tribe behind you.
Excellent. Well, tag us. We want to see what the first content,
Yes.
what the first post is all about. We will cheer you up from the back line here, but also in the front line. And as I said, you will get the recording. Message us on LinkedIn if you've got any specific questions that you didn't want to ask in front of everyone. And with that, we want to let you go. So thank you so much for sharing your lunchtime with us. And we're both looking forward to seeing you on LinkedIn, hopefully.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.